Thanks, it's great to be here. My name is Aditya and I work at Flipkart, and I'm here to talk about the great convergence with React. And what I mean by that is React is helping blur the lines between what's native and what's web. And I think this is powered by two important trends. One, progressive web apps, as Nicole talked about it, and second, React Native. Now, last year, I talked about progressive web apps at React Conf, and that was an inflection point. Since then, we have seen a lot of high quality and immersive progressive web apps being launched, most of them being built with React. A core function of progressive web app has been the add to home screen feature. The add to home screen feature itself has evolved significantly over the last year. Today, when you add a progressive web app to home screen, it actually installs the web app just like a native app using a web APK. So what this means is once the user installs your PWA to the home screen, you automatically get permissions to certain APIs like persistent storage and soon even push notifications. And second, the natural progression from here is that progressive web apps might be listed on app stores. So now you have an icon not only on home screen, but the progressive web app gets listed in your app menu just like a native app. All your links that you click open directly into your progressive web app, not a browser instance or a tab. And third, all of this is just at a fraction of the cost compared to your native app. So progressive web apps are really now first-class citizens on Android, and if you're not building them, you're really missing out on a lot. On the other hand, React Native has fundamentally changed the way we do native development. It has brought both web-like release agility and the developer experience to the native world. Recently, we shipped a large chunk of our flagship Flipkart app written in React Native to over 100 million users, and the impact has been phenomenal. Now that we are building both React PWA and React Native apps, I thought I'll try to highlight the top 3 areas of performance engineering that we're doing at Flipkart. For the React PWA, as Nicole mentioned, we aggressively cache everything using service workers. And so on the first visit, when the user comes, we try to cache everything. And on repeat visits, it's everything offline first. And this enables us to match the startup times of a native app. Second, we extensively code split. Nihar had a great talk on this. We code split our app by routes. We code split by components, grouping them into primary and secondary components. And also, we have broken down our entire application into groups of multiple single-page apps. Third, we actively bypass React when required, which is bypassing the set state and render, so that we can keep our animations and interactions at 60 frames per second. We do this in the most sane and maintainable way by using the lifecycle hooks and higher order components, but we still need to do that to keep things on the fast path. On the React Native side, we have worked very hard to conceal the startup cost of React Native by pre-passing the JavaScript in a VM behind one of the native screens. So when a user is viewing any of our native screens, we fork up a VM and pre-pass all the React Native code. We also build a recycler list view, and this is important because in India we see a lot of low-end devices, so memory consumption is very sensitive. Third, we have built a service that allows us to send only incremental JavaScript down the wire. So whenever we do a build and a deployment, we only send the diff down the wire instead of sending the whole JS again. And this allows us to reduce the number of bytes sent down on low 2G networks significantly. Some of these problems may look like they're tailored for React Native and tailored for the PWA, but if you look closely, they all share very common themes and very common tenets. And so what we're seeing is some of these problems are being solved by React itself with things like React Fiber. Some of these problems are being solved by the tooling ecosystem around React. And what's happening is React is becoming this common platform to build user interfaces across the board. We took this to heart at Flipkart, and now we recently just merged all our teams into one team of React engineers that work on React Native, work on React PWA, React Web Views. And this has enabled us to not only just share more code, but share all our learnings. And this has allowed us to move much faster, making React a business advantage. Coming back to the convergence, the web has some very unique properties. Things like instant load without the app store install friction, an always up-to-date model, and no storage requirements. Native, on the other hand, has its benefits around utilizing system resources for very smooth and fluid animations, a wide spectrum of device and hardware APIs, and a discovery and reach platform through App Store. Progressive apps are bringing all the goodness of the web to the native, and React Native is bringing the best of the web world to the web, best of the web world to native. So as we further head down this path of convergence, what I envision is a user experience that will have all the goodness of the web and all the goodness of the native, and it'll be powered by a common platform. The one thing I'm sure of is that React will be at the crux of this platform. So I borrowed this slide from Brendan Ike, which said always bet on JavaScript, and I modified it to say always bet on React. And this is really apt because React has gone through both incremental advances and continuous evolution, thanks to a great core team and an amazing community behind it. So with that, I can say confidently as a product engineer that I can always bet on React in this era of convergence. With that, thank you.